Hey kids, this is Pulse Revision coming to you live from Cuatro Cinco Studios in my mom's basement. It is a lovely Sunday, and we're coming to you with Chapter 4, Part 2 of Rings of Dust. I'll read this to you so you don't have to. Here we go. Let's jump right in. I'll share my screen. And you guys can read along with me here. There we go. All right, so when we left them last, they were in the cabin, and Ricardo, aka Heavy Hitter, had just brought over this letter from the Federation. So let's jump into what that letter reads. I'll start off again up here. The Federation's emblem in the upper left-hand corner of the letter sent a shudder down his spine. Sharon rested her head on her hand, arm draped over the back of the sofa. Arm draped over the back of the sofa. Her eyes were fixed intently on Cole as his gaze darted across the page, index finger trembling as it followed each line. He began to read aloud, his voice unsteady, the weight of the words sinking in with every syllable. From the office of Federation Chancellor Jeffrey H. Dement. Dear Mr. Nova, the Federation now stands at a critical juncture, and your unparalleled expertise is urgently required. After extensive deliberation, the Council has concluded that your unique qualifications are essential to our mission. Enclosed is a copy of a legally binding document with your signature dated September 12th, 2021, which waives your rights as a United States citizen in exchange for your service in the Stellar Council forces. Your duty to the Council remains in effect and paramount. We regret to inform you of the escalating energy shortage crisis, which threatens the very fabric of our society. The severity of this condition is unprecedented, and we seek your immediate involvement without utmost urgency. Your skills and experience make you uniquely positioned to address this dire situation. You're hereby ordered to prepare for immediate deployment. Report to Federal Space Command Headquarters. Be advised that your movements are under constant surveillance. The Federation relies on your swift and unquestioning compliance. The stakes have never been higher, and the survival of humanity rests on your shoulders. This is your moment, Mr. Nova. The world is watching. We need the old Cole Nova, the leader, the hero, the man who can turn the tide. Your legacy awaits. Be advised Saturn's outer rings will enter full gravitational closure on November 22nd, 2023. The Rapture window. After this date, no vessel can access the outer ring formations until the next alignment cycle. Retrieval must be complete before this date. There will be no extension. Sincerely, Jeffrey H. Dement, Federation Chancellor. He'd stopped reading at the Rapture date. Read it again. The number sat in him the way a number does when it becomes a countdown. November 22nd, 2033. He did the math without paper. It checked out. It had always been going to check out. It had always been going to check out. He made himself remember it. Then Cole crumpled the letter and dropped it into his still waistbin without looking. Bastards, he said quietly. The room was still. Then, I need more time. His voice broke on the last word. Then, the sudden clatter of dishes from the dining area caught his attention. Where's Bit-Boy? The macaque perched on the table, with a stack of pancakes the size of a tall top hat. Clutched in his tiny hands, he grinned sheepishly, crumbs littering his fur. Cole and Emily shared a laugh, bubbling up from their mutual despair. Sharon and Ricardo joined in, their laughter tinged with nervousness. Sharon's mirth quickly turned to rage as she noticed a blue trail of stains leading to Bit-Boy's mini fingers, and the now empty jar of blackberry preserves. The juice had turned his still claws dark blue, with a hint of the color marking his lips and tongue. BitBoy Leroy, her voice dropped to register that bypassed volume entirely. It's nothing sacred to you. Cole turned away from the scene, his smile fading. He strode purposely to a cluttered desk and jammed the thumb drive into the side of an old laptop. The screen flickered to life. Files opened across the display in a frenzy, data scrolling faster than anyone could read. He leaned in, scanning the information with growing unease. Ricardo walked over and peered over Cole's shoulder. The data scrolling on the monitor included information on Cole that he had long buried in the recesses of his memory. Missions, failures, personal details he wished to forget. Turn on Ricardo could bury him twice over, both scandalous, damning notes on Emily that reduced her fears to mere footnote in a much larger, darker narrative of corruption and cover-ups. The encrypted file sat on the bottom of the list, tagged Dark Matter Research. BitBoy, play, Cole commanded. BitBoy scampered to the laptop, his mechanical fingers moved across the keyboard with precise efficiency, his eyes glowing with a soft light as he interfaced with the encryption. The room waited. Then the screen blinked, files opened. BitBoy returned to his pancake without ceremony. Cole's eyes moved across the screen. Alpha Corp's internal correspondence, patent filings, hundreds of them, acquired, classified, and shelved. Disposal protocol 11 to 13% of viable darker matter product deliberately destroyed per batch to manage pricing. Government grants worth billions diverted from crisis relief into Alpha's research division, surveillance reports, his own name appearing in files dated years before the Polaris. Emily leaned over his shoulder. They caused it, she murmured. The shortage, they caused it. Nobody moved. The fire popped once behind them. Cole scrolled. More files. The suppression was systematic. Every viable alternative acquired and buried. Every independent researcher either hired or silenced. The energy crisis was not a failure of science, it was inventory management. He closed the laptop. The room was quiet in a way a room gets quiet when everyone in it has just learned the same thing and nobody knows who should speak first. The sun dipped down behind the Sierras. The golden light filtered through windows, landing on the piles of luggage compiled throughout the day. BitBoy climbed into the back seat out of habit. Cole and Ricardo swung the luggage into the SUV's open hatch. They stood across from one another, Cole on the passenger's side, Ricardo on the driver's. You know, you and Sharon make a great couple, Ricardo remarked, his voice tinged with sincerity and envy. You two remind me of the people in picture frames. You know, the ones that come in the package, the ones you throw out and replace with people you care about. We'll take that as a compliment, I guess, replied Cole, a small smile playing on his lips. Sharon joined Cole at his side, pulled his face towards her with both hands, and delivered a perfectly timed, fully committed kiss. Those picture frame models don't come close to our hotness, she said. Isn't that right? You know it, Cole said. The boy mimicked their affection from the back seat, rubbing his palms together and making kissing sounds. Ricardo's forehead flushed. Been training at all? What's your cholesterol like? Ricardo said. Well, he cracked open a tall energy drink with a single hand. Can you even fit into a flight suit? Let's go get that head rush, Cole said in his best Astro jargon. If the payload doesn't make it home, ain't nobody getting paid. We'll make it home. We'll be home in bed while the thrusters are still hot enough to fry an egg on. Sharon leaned back with her eyes wide, shaking her head. You boys have fun with your Astros only cult. Cole spotted a hummingbird feeder hanging near the porch and quickly strode over. Ripping a length of copper wire from it, he picked up a small pebble from the road, its surface smooth and weathered. He twisted the wire around his pinky with nimble fingers, securing the pebble at the top, and fashioned a makeshift ring. He returned to Sharon, who watched him with curiosity. For the first time, I want to give you something to hold on to, Cole said, placing the makeshift ring in her hand. I'll bring you back something extraordinary to replace this. Keep it safe for me. Sharon's eyes softened and she closed her fingers around the ring. I will, she whispered. You better come back to me, Cole Nova. Emily patiently waited on the porch swing for her turn to speak to Cole. She watched him hold Sharon, and Sharon gripped him in return. They held one another with simple determination. Take E to deliver the crystals. They're only stable for 6 more days, Cole said. And it's the same spot as always. Leave the van and take the train back. Cole looked up from the nest he'd made in Sharon's hair along her neckline and saw Emily gently swinging, wrapped in one of their mother's god-awful knitted blankets. Guiding light in my life, Emily said, tears streaming down her cheek. Distance and time mean nothing against the bond we share. Look to the ground, as I will always be here waiting for you, guiding you. Keep our dreams alive, and remember, you're always in my heart. I love you too, big brother. Okay, nerd, I will if you will, Cole said, taking his sister in his arms and softly shushing her quiet sobs. Leave the hero stuff to me. Take care of yourself, okay? I'll see you when I get back. I promise. Ricardo got in the driver's seat. As he pulled away, a cloud of dust flew around the rental car. Cole watched Emily and Sharon in the rearview mirror until they were too small to recognize. It's already cold. Doesn't the heater work? Cole complained. Fine, I'll turn up the heater just for you, princess, Ricardo said. They've had me shuttling supplies to asteroid miners every other year. Short jumps to orbit stations through meteor storms and everything. Cole watched the trees pass. The silhouettes of peaks and valleys formed against the night sky and sleepy mountains. Man, you had to be there this one time. Asteroids hit my wings like buckshot. It was rad. The tail almost fell off about 1,000 feet before I hit the runway, but my bird held together. Oh man, you should have seen it. Cole shut his eyes tightly and tried to breathe through the rising, ominous visions before they could fully overtake him. With a slow inhale and a long exhale, he brought his awareness back to the present moment. His mood now soured. Can we not talk about accidents? I should have retired years ago. How was retirement? Hate to break it to you, silly goose, Ricardo said, patting Cole on the shoulder, but retirement was over the moment you stepped into this SUV. Listen, man, I don't get a lot of human interaction, and that's just how I like it. It's just been the girls and BitBoy for the last half-decade. The chimp grunted at his name and popped his head between the 2 front seats. You forgot we're brothers, Nova. As your brother. Oh, Ricardo's smile faded briefly. Then he returned as he turned to look at Cole. As your brother, it is my duty to annoy the ever-loving shit out of you until you lighten the fuck up. Keep your damn eyes on the road, bro, Cole said. Ricardo hissed dryly like a steam engine running out of water. The dry cough conveniently became a tool for breaking the awkward moment before it could stretch into oblivion. Or maybe he was just realizing how thirsty he was. He reached for his energy drink, which was no longer in the center console. He looked at the empty cup holder. For the mere span of 2 heartbeats, his eyes left the road. Hands released from the steering wheel, and the vehicle chose to do its own thing. Ricardo calmly but nonchalantly regained control of the wheel and eventually returned to the original lane they had drifted from. Are you testing me? Cole asked. Just having some fun, Mountain Man, Ricardo said. You do remember what that is, right? No, Cole answered without a hint of amusement. What are you looking for? I'll get it so you can focus. Ricardo let that land, then let it go. He drove for a moment silent, then spoke to the windshield like he was telling a story to himself. You remember Kowalski? Cole said nothing. Titan Station. Customs inspector with the lazy eye, the one who'd hold your paperwork and just watch you sweat. Ricardo shook his head slowly, already fighting a grin. We're looking at a 30-hour hold, mandatory cargo inspection, the whole thing. I'm doing the math on how bad this is going to be. And Kowalski, without a single word, reaches into his chest pocket and sets a hard-boiled egg on the man's desk. Just sets it there. Folds his hands, looks at him. Cole stared out the window. Inspector looked at the egg, looked at Kowalski, stamped our clearance, and told us to have a good day. Ricardo exhaled through his nose. We asked him about it on the ride back. You know what he said? He said, an egg on the desk confuses any bureaucrat long enough to reset the situation. Said it worked every time. 4 stations. Never failed. Something shifted almost imperceptibly at the corner of Cole's mouth. Not a smile, but a ghost of one passing through. Dumbest thing I ever saw. Ricardo said quietly, worked perfectly. My energy drink, or whatever's left of it. Cole glanced to the back seat to catch Pip-Boy tilting the can upside down above his gaping maw, which had protruded razor-sharp fangs. We have maybe 5 minutes. Cole buried his face in his hands. You have to keep anything you can use for energy on lock, man. You know this. Sugar, caffeine, ethanol. Hey, I think we're being followed. A black SUV similar to their own quickly approached them from behind, sped up, and suddenly, pulling alongside them, then roared ahead and swung in front of them. Ricardo stared back at Pip-Boy through the rearview mirror. For no particular logical reason, Pip-Boy utilized each of his forearms and 2 legs to shoot obscene gestures at Ricardo with a toothy smile. Redirecting the high beams shining from the car approaching behind them, Ricardo blasted Pip-Boy with a concentrated shot of light by cleverly repositioning the mirror. What's got you spooked? Cole asked. We're going to see another car from time to time. Pip-Boy's cracked out. You'll rile him up if you don't chill. If they were just looking to pass, why slow down after? Cole said. Pip-Boy, buckle up. Cole, do whatever you like, but there's an automatic 9mm under your seat if shit hits the fan. LED brake lights ahead of them shone in intense red as the vehicle dropped in speed. Cole gripped an overhead handle and braced himself. Ricardo hit the brakes hard, redirected, hit the gas. He swerved left around the other vehicle in a shower of gravel and dirt. Still looking entirely too calm, Ricardo jested. Somebody doesn't like you, Jackpot. And please handle your monkey. The SUV was in the rear view again. Pip-Boy did not buckle up. Instead, he began to deploy and retract, the sleek blades built into his forearms. With each deployment, Pip-Boy released a lion's bark. As the car behind them again grew nearer, it filled the cabin with light, creating a shadow puppet show of the monkey as he jumped around in the back seat. He shredded the cushions, raked the ceiling with his claws. All right, Jackpot, call the cops, Ricardo ordered. He hastily located his phone and dialed 911. Please state your name and location of your emergency. This is Cole Nova. I'm located at mile marker 33 on Forest Road 22. An aggressive driver is telling me they're trying to run us off the road. There was a brief pause before the operator responded. I'm sorry, sir. We don't have any units in that area. Can you get away from them? Her voice was calm, too calm, with an unsettling smoothness. We're trying, Cole said, his voice strained, his eyes darting between the phone and the road. But they keep ramming us. Who else is with you? The operator asked, her tone oddly clinical. Ricardo Corazon and a monkey, Cole replied, the absurdity of the situation hitting him in the crisis. There was another pause on the line, longer this time, enough to make Cole's anxiety spike. Is this a prank call? The operator demanded, her voice now edged with a strange irritation. Are there any females in the vehicle with you? This isn't a prank, ma'am, Cole insisted, frustration seeping into his tone. No, just us. We have no units in that area. Your report has been logged. Sorry, sir. Good luck. The line went dead abruptly, leaving Cole staring at his phone in disbelief. Pip-Boy's shrieks filled the cabin as he dismantled the back seat, his fury palpable. He clambered onto the duffel bag in the trunk, eyes gleaming with wild light. The Escalade behind them hit their bumper, and the impact went through the seat, through Cole's spine, through his teeth. The steering wheel jerked in Ricardo's hands. The tires caught gravel, and the whole vehicle slid sideways onto the rocky shoulder, the undercarriage scraping stone. Ricardo's voice was terse. The gun! Cole shook his head. His voice barely a whisper. I've done enough killing. Pip-Boy, attention. Ricardo sucked his teeth in frustration. Pip-Boy, illuminated by the dashboard lights, turned his murderous gaze towards Cole. Ricardo maneuvered the SUV back onto the road, accelerated to match their aggressor's speed. Pip-Boy, defend, Cole said. Pip-Boy's eyes shifted to a soft blue light, the glow that meant enhanced mode, the glow that meant the six-limbed test subject from a Federation cage had just become the most dangerous thing on the highway. His metal fingernails extended, clicking against each other with small, precise sound of something calibrating. Bad men, initiate option CR4. Pip-Boy turned to face the attacking vehicle, his muscles coiling with tension. With a savage roar, he launched himself through the shattered rear window, glass shards glittering in the night. He landed on the hood of the pursuing SUV with a metallic thud, his blades slicing into the windshield. The vehicle swerved violently as Pip-Boy disappeared inside. Gunfire erupted within the SUV, each shot a violent burst of chaos. Ricardo pulled their car to a stop about 40 yards away, grabbing an assault rifle from under the rear seat. Cole stumbled out, running towards the wreckage, heart pounding so loud that it drowned out the noise. More shots rang out, each one making him flinch. The shrieking of the chimpanzee drowned out the terrified screams of the men inside. Then silence. Cole reached the SUV, breath ragged, heart racing. A bloodied, unconscious man in a sports coat and t-shirt occupied the driver's seat. On the passenger side floor lay an empty hamburger bag and a pistol. Pip-Boy squatted in the passenger seat, sucking on the straw of the man's soda with a satisfied grin. The rear cabin was a gruesome scene of dismembered body parts, blood spattered everywhere. Cole hadn't discerned how many attackers there were, but their private attire and weaponry were unmistakable. Pip-Boy, attention. Threat neutralized. Cole pulled the driver's wallet from the inside pocket of his sports coat, hands shaking as he took a photo of the driver's license. He grabbed the gun, scooped sand from the roadside, emptied the remaining bullets from the magazine, then cocked the gun, pouring sand into the slide until it jammed. He tossed it into the bushes. Let's go, let's go! Cole and Pip-Boy rushed back to the car, jumping in beside Ricardo. They sped off into the night, the tension still thick. I got a photo of their IDs, Cole said, breathing heavily. We'll file a report when we get back to the Federation. Holy shit, Jackpot. What have you been training this monkey to do up there in the mountains? Ricardo said. Cole leaned back in his seat, crawling over to inspect Pip-Boy for wounds. He was covered in blood and gore, but none of it was his. The city skyline drew taller as they approached, lights twinkling against the dark sky. We just left a crime scene, and I gave our names to the police, Cole said. I'm pretty sure we just committed a few dozen felonies. I'd say we just neutralized a threat, Ricardo replied. Who have you been pissing off, Nova? Lots of people have reason to hate me, Cole said. What's the name on the ID? Ricardo asked. Cole pulled up the photo. The license image was clear, the face of a man in the driver's seat, unconscious. Beneath the name beneath it read Davis, Brandon T. Pasadena, California, age 41. Cole held the phone towards Ricardo without a word. Ricardo looked at it. The name, the face. He had the ID for maybe 3 seconds. His eyes moved from the screen back to the road without hurrying. A moment passed. The exact length of a moment in which a person is deciding whether to say something. Then he glanced at Cole. Not the glance of a man who didn't recognize something, the opposite of that. The Polaris had carried 369 people. They were all dead. Ricardo had attended every memorial service he could reach. He had met the families. He knew where the name like Davis fit in that picture. It was not his crew. He said nothing. Cole said nothing. Ricardo drove. The city lights grew taller around them, the shadows of their actions trailing closely behind. Meridian, 5 days after Cole accepts. Deo read the relay and set intercept 3 times. It wasn't the content. The content was vague in a way that long distance intelligence usually was. Shape of a thing, but not its texture. Emily Nova had gone to a cabin in Sequoia with the Enterprise figurine. Cabin was confirmed as Cole Nova's address for the last 5 years. She got him, said Loa from the engineering station, not looking up. She was always going to get him, Deo said. You don't know that. I know she's the only person in this network with a clear enough picture of what's at stake and enough of him to make it matter. Of course she got him. Peter had found his droplet now. It was on the inside of his left wrist, a small fabric oval, a water droplet in gunmetal thread on navy. He kept turning his wrist over to look at it. The nav station ran 3 degrees colder than the rest of the ship, a quirk of the cooling architecture that Loa had cataloged and declined to fix. Peter kept rubbing his left wrist without noticing the droplet. Exactly. The cold. Can I ask something? Peter said. You're going to either way, Loa said. What's a droplet mean? Like, actually, I read the brief, but the brief was spare, Kate said. It said I had demonstrated awareness and willingness, which was pretty low bar for a clandestine network. Deo set down his coffee. What would a higher bar look like to you? Peter thought about it. Demonstrated capability, demonstrated commitment, something you do rather than just something. The droplet means you're wet, Deo said. You've gotten close to something true. You can't entirely go back to know how you saw things before. You've seen the lock on the door. You know there's a room. You don't earn a droplet. You receive one because one assessed that you were already carrying it without knowing what it was. Peter looked at his wrist. Oh. Between a droplet and a compass, there are others. Scalpel means you operate. You cut what needs cutting. You move through resistance with precision. Scalpel doesn't wait for the right conditions. A wrench means you build and connect. The people who wire the network together so everyone else can use it. A sunglasses. It's not good. There we go. A pair of sunglasses mean that you see what you're not supposed to see, and you carry that without breaking cover. He paused. A compass means you navigate. You move through when the network moves. You give direction as well as receive it. What's above a compass? Kate and Lowe exchanged a look. We don't put them in order, Kate said. Why not? Because the network doesn't run vertically. She turned back to her panel. It runs in all directions at once at the whole point. Peter looked at his wrist again. He seemed to find this both clarifying and unsatisfying, which Deo probably thought was the correct response to most true things. Cole Nova launches in approximately 72 hours, Deo said. Kate. Continuous passive interception on the Golden Dawn's outbound relay bands. Everything. Already running, she said. Have been for a week. He had known she would be. The sunglasses didn't need to be told what to watch for. Jill was 3 days out from Titan when the signal found her. She was running a standard belt route. Ceres to Titan supply, cargo manifest clean enough to pass a Federation scan, and interesting enough to make the trip worthwhile. The Houndstooth handled the route the way it handled everything, without complaint, without enthusiasm, with the mechanical patience of a ship that had been doing this longer than its current owner, and would probably outlast the next one. She was in the pilot seat with her boots on the console and a contract renewal she should have been reading when the nav panel chimed. Not the standard chime, a frequency she didn't recognize. Not Federation band, not Miners Auxiliary, not any registry she'd filed within 6 years of running cargo through the outer belt. She sat up. She pulled the signal and ran it through the identifier. Nothing. No match. No origin tag. No registered source. She listened to it for a moment. It had a rhythm to it, not a random static, not a distress beacon, something that repeated, something that was there on purpose. She logged the frequency. She marked the bearing. She kept flying. 3 days to Titan. She had a schedule. She had a contract. She had a ship that needed fuel and a broker who did not tolerate delays. She saved the bearing under unknown 1 and closed the panel. The signal faded behind her as Titan grew in the forward scope. She did not think about it again for 3 weeks. When she did, she was low on fuel and running a shorter route, and the bearing was still in the nav system where she had left it. She pulled it up, checked her fuel, and changed course. All right, if you guys want to know more about the crypto project that is associated with the story and the artwork, go to agproject.io, connect your wallet, and enjoy minting some fuel cell NFTs that are inspired from this novel. And check us out in our Telegram to read the rest of the book if you don't want to wait for these recordings at t.me/antigravity saga. We'll see you on the next one. Ciao.